Have you ever wondered what it's like to quit your 9-to-5 job and pursue your own business? Well, in 2022, I did exactly that. I quit my high-paying software engineering job to start my own business. And so far, I have turned over £1.2 million and made over £200,000 profit. In this video, I'm going to tell you my story, the highs and the lows, and tell you how Amazon has changed my life and what steps you can take to do the same. I was actually one of the very first employees in a brand new startup that built software for the pharmaceutical industry. And I helped that business grow from the ground up by building their software with one other colleague and built that into a thriving business. I worked for this company for 6 or 7 years, but there was a problem. Ever since the age of 16, I've always wanted to have my own business. I've always been very entrepreneurial. I've always wanted to buy things and sell things and make side hustle money. And running a business was always one of my dreams. However, I just never had the opportunity or the right idea of what business to actually start to actually go ahead and make a success of this. So I did what most people do. I ended up getting a job and working that job, and I really did enjoy my job. However, I always had that itch, that need to start my own business and be my own boss. And one thing that happened in my current role as a software engineer is that I began to stop learning. I began to maybe get a little bit bored with the role. And I always had that little itch that I wanted to do a business. So the time came that I decided, you know what, I am not enjoying this role quite as much as I was before. I've always wanted to do my own business, so I'm going to actually take the plunge and quit my job, which is a very high-paying software engineering role, and I'm going to start my own business. Now, this is one of the toughest things I've ever done in my life. Having worked at this company from day one, it felt like a family, and I really did enjoy working with all the people that I worked with. I had a really great boss, and I loved working for that company, but things had to change, and I really did want to run my own business, and I had to just take that plunge and quit my job. So there I was. I'd quit my job, I'd worked my notice, and now I had to figure out what business am I going to do. Now, I had a software engineering background, so I thought I could build any kind of website I wanted and make like a web app or something like that and make a success of that. However, I was really unsure of what area to go into, what industry to go into, what kind of web app to build, and then thinking about, well, how am I actually going to get customers on this platform? So I actually twiddled my thumbs a little bit for 6 to 8 weeks, and I really just didn't know what business to do. Now, I was fortunate in that I'd had some savings, and I deliberately saved up this money so that I could eventually quit my job and start my own business. And then I saw some friends who were doing something called Amazon FBA, and I'd heard about Amazon FBA in the past. I knew the very basics of it. You send things into Amazon, you sell things on the Amazon platform, they deal with all the logistics and stuff. I'd also heard the horror stories around it as well. I mean, it tends to be that you only hear about the bad things, not the good things. Anyway, I had 2 or 3 friends who were getting into Amazon FBA. They all got into it together at the same time. And I saw their progress over the months, and they started off making, £500 a month, then £1,000 a month, then £2,000, £3,000. And before I knew it, one of them was posting £10,000 profit per month. And I said to myself, well, I've been reluctant to do Amazon FBA up to this point. However, I've not got a better idea. I may as well take the plunge here. I've got some friends who are doing it. They're making a success of it. So you know what? I'm going to do Amazon FBA, see how it goes until I can think of a better idea. Now, I was very fortunate. I had some of these friends who could help me, and I bombarded them with questions, and I'm sure they got sick of me eventually asking all these questions. I did a bunch of research online on YouTube, watching videos just like this one, and trying to figure out exactly how to do Amazon FBA. And I ended up sourcing some products, and I actually made my very first sale on the 6th of July 2022. And ever since then, after my very first sale and seeing the profit I made on that one product, I was hooked. And things only grew better from there. So I've got my results here, and in my very first month of doing Amazon, I made £498 profit, which I was actually really pleased with, because it's not often that a brand new business actually even makes money in their first year, let alone their first month. So I was extremely pleased with this progress. In the first 6 months, I made £11,267 profit. So in 6 months, I'd made nearly £12,000, and I was absolutely ecstatic. Now, I actually went into Amazon with the kind of thought process of, you know what, I'd be happy to make £1,000 or £2,000 profit per month, do this on the side, and then try and figure out some software that I wanted to build and build up that business. However, after these sales and after all the success, Amazon just sucked me in, and I was absolutely hooked on growing this business. And before long, I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to go fully deep on Amazon. I want to get to that point where I make £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 profit a month, maybe even £10,000 profit. And I'd seen in many of these Amazon groups, people posting results of £10,000, £15,000, £20,000 profit per month. I'd even seen people making £40,000 per month. And I was just like, I want to get to that point where I'm making that kind of money. Now, it wasn't all smooth sailing. I definitely made some mistakes with Amazon, and I had a few roadblocks along the way. But you get that with any kind of business or anything you do in life. One of the biggest things that I ran into was I started Amazon around Prime Day, and I ended up spending around £15,000 on products on Prime Day with the help of my friends who were just saying, you need to buy these, you know, don't hold back, buy. So I ended up spending £15,000, and all these items got delivered to my top floor apartment with no lift. So I had to carry all these items upstairs, and my apartment was like a warehouse. However, I wasn't worried. I was confident in the fact that I could sell these products and make lots of money. So I went to go and sell these products, and one particular product I had was 1,200 baby bottles with the brand Tommee Tippee. And I could see I was going to make about £3 or £4 per product. So I was extremely excited to get these listed and get these sold. However, I ran into a problem. Amazon would not let me sell these products. And it turns out when you're a new Amazon seller, Amazon are a little bit stricter on some categories. And it turns out baby feeding, rightly so, is one of those categories. So fortunately, I had a community and some friends who told me, you know what, just hold on to those products and give it 2 or 3 months and you'll be able to sell them. And they were exactly right. And after I proved myself to Amazon, that brand and that category was unlocked and I was able to sell them. So in 2023, for that entire year, I ended up making £62,106 profit. And obviously, having quit my job, I was extremely pleased and excited to see that number and see how I was progressing. And the fantastic thing about Amazon and online businesses is if you keep putting the work in, this is a progression, and you'll see that your profits are going to grow almost exponentially over time. And in 2024, I made £115,219 profit. And for 2025, I am looking at making over £200,000 profit. So you can see this progression that I've been through from my very first sale on the 6th of July, 2022. And I always remember that date and that time because it was the beginning of my Amazon business and my Amazon journey. It's ingrained in my head all the way to the end of 2024 where I made that £115,000. This progression was just absolutely insane. Now, one thing that happened when I was doing Amazon is I started posting my results in some of these groups. And people were asking me, hey, how are you actually doing this? How did you make £1,000, £2,000, £3,000 a month? And I was getting asked so many times and I was answering the same questions over and over. I thought, you know what? I have always wanted to start a YouTube channel, and this is the perfect opportunity and the perfect time for me to do a YouTube channel around Amazon FBA. And rather than me answering the same questions over and over to different people, I could make a video answering these questions and then I could just send people to that video. And that's why I started this channel. I've always felt the need as well to share my success and help people as much as possible. I am not someone who's selfish and wants to just hoard all the money myself. I do want to be successful. I do want to be wealthy. And that's one reason I wanted to start my own business is I wanted to be wealthy. I wanted to be rich. But I'm always one of these people who loves helping others. And I want to see other people succeed as well. I believe there's room for everyone to make money in Amazon FBA. The platform is absolutely enormous. So there's plenty of room for everyone. I'm not worried about other people coming in and doing Amazon and taking away my share of the profits. I just don't believe that's true. So once I started the YouTube channel, I had some fantastic success. And I thought, you know what? I've had really great success asking my friends questions. I've joined a community, which helped me as well. I thought, you know what? I'm going to create a free community where people can come along and ask questions about Amazon FBA. They can network with other sellers and they can get started on Amazon themselves. So shortly after creating my YouTube channel, I created that free Amazon community called FBA Moguls. And the goal behind this was to basically give people the support that I had when I started Amazon. I want to be the friend that helps people and have other people in there help people get into Amazon. And so far we've grown to over 1,500 members, mostly from the UK. And it really has built into an amazing community. And I think the best Amazon community available for UK sellers. So hopefully this video has inspired you to get into Amazon FBA and start your own business. So what steps do you need to take to actually get started on Amazon and basically replicate the success that I've had? Well, the first thing you need to do is join my free community, and there's a link for that in the description. It's 100% free. It's a fantastic place to say, get help from me, get help from others, network with other sellers and other new people to Amazon, and just a great place to hang out and learn. So that's the first step that you need to take. The second step, once you're in the community, is to introduce yourself, say hello, talk to other sellers, and maybe just get some confirmation that Amazon is the right thing for you. I've also got some written guides on FBAmogul.com, another thing that I've started to help people 100% free as well. And in there, you've got plenty of guides on how to source products, how to get started on Amazon, how to create your own Amazon account, what software you need, and all the steps that you need to take to get started on Amazon. And then the final step is to actually just get started and get selling on Amazon and then figure out if this thing is for you. You may decide that actually you do not like selling on Amazon, and that's absolutely fine. Or you might be like me and others that I hang out with who, once they make that first sale, get absolutely hooked, seeing that profit come in and want to just take this thing to the next level. Then the final step is at some point you're going to need to plan how to quit your job. Once you are making enough money on Amazon, and I can help you figure that out if you want, you can just contact me in my community. And you can figure out how much you need to be making from Amazon, and we can plan the steps that you need to take to actually finally quit your 9-to-5 job and go full-time on Amazon, become your own boss, and change your life and become a full-time Amazon seller. Now, hopefully this video has inspired you to at least start thinking about Amazon FBA, and hopefully some of you actually get started on Amazon FBA. Now, if you want to learn exactly why I think Amazon FBA is the best business to start for anyone who wants to become their own boss and run their own business, check out this video here where I explain why Amazon is the best business.